Hello everyone, this is Just a Dad. Today I'm going to do a detailed review on this Gourmia 12-cup hot and iced coffee maker. It retails for $30 at Walmart, model number GCM3260. So they're promoting this as a hot and an iced coffee maker. Here's what comes in the kit. Now I'll explain this later. You're going to use this when you make over iced coffee. But it looks pretty much like a standard coffee maker. This is a 12-cup carafe with a hinged lid. It does have a warming plate. You lift up here, it's got the brew head. It's got this basket style that you got to put a filter in. It takes 8 to 12 cup basket style coffee filters. So you're going to have to buy paper filters or a reusable filter to put up here, but you don't use both. It's got the plunger on the bottom so that when you take the coffee pot out, it stops the brew. Back there is where we put the water. When you put this down, make sure it snaps. It's a very lightweight coffee maker. No cord storage, but maybe that is, I'm not sure. Has a 2-prong cord. Front to back's about 8, side to side's about 6.5. So unfortunately, it's about 21 inches tall. It will not fit under kitchen cabinets. Kitchen cabinets are 19 inches, so this is a pretty tall coffee maker with the lid open. It's only about 12 inches without the lid. So it does have a touch panel. I got it plugged in. Here's the hour and the minute. So if you just accidentally hit those, it does change the time on you, so be careful. It's got a brew now button, so when you're ready to brew coffee, you just hit the brew now button. Oh, that's the brew later, I'm sorry. Here's the brew now button. Just hit the brew now button. The little red light flashes to let you know it starts, but we're going to stop it. Here's the strong and iced. You've got strong, iced, and then when there's nothing showing, it's just a normal brew. You do have a clean light, so the clean light will come on to notify you that it's time to descale. This has a descaling mode that you can put the coffee maker into to clean it with vinegar. I'll do a separate video on that. The display is a little dim for me. I mean, it does look pretty good. The touch screen is very responsive. I've not had any lagging with it, except if you do bump the hour and the minute, it does change the time really quick. It does have an AM and a PM. Does have a little bit of metal on it. It does have a window on the side here to show you how much water you put in. So this coffee maker will brew whatever amount of water you put back there. So the picture shows it with ice. We're going to brew a pot of iced coffee first, because I think it's going to be a pretty standard coffee maker for hot coffee, but you may be buying this for iced coffee. And then that's where this is going to come into play. So you're going to put this down, because that's going to, even though we brew over ice, we select iced, this warming plate is still going to get very hot. And then we put that down, and then we put this, and then we brew the coffee into a pot filled with ice. I'm going to show you how to do that. So I've always wondered how coffee makers work. Here I've got an older Cuisinart, but they all work about the same. I've got this, the warming plate is right here, but underneath, this is where they heat the water. So in order to heat the water to brew the coffee, it uses the warming plate as the thing to warm up. So that's why you have to put that down. So even though you're to heat the water for the brew, it's still going to make the warming plate hot. So it does come with a pretty decent manual with some nice pictures. It kind of explains things for you. Miss Fiona likes to help out. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is you fill it up with ice to this. This is the maximum for the ice. But we're going to put water in the back first. So the deal with making iced coffee is it's still going to brew it really hot. So you're going to make it really strong, because the theory is it's going to melt the ice and that's going to dilute the coffee. So if you make it really strong, by the time it melts the ice, it should be at the proper strength. So you're going to use half the amount of water, but the same amount of coffee grounds as if you were doing a 12 cup of ice or cup of coffee. So if you were going to do a full 12 cup pot of coffee, you would fill it up to here, and you would do hot, and it would brew the whole 12 cups through, and it would brew coffee. But when you're doing over iced, we're going to fill it up to here, to the 6, basically halfway. So we're going to put 6 cups of water in here, fill it up to here. Then we're going to fill this up with ice to the 6 mark, and then it's going to brew that 6 cups of hot coffee into the 6 cups of iced, and by the end you should have iced coffee, and we're going to try that out. Okay, so I've got my carafe filled up to the 6 mark, 6 of water. even though I'm going to brew a full 12 cup pot of iced coffee. All right, so we're going to pour it in the carafe. It pours really nice. It's a nice carafe. I got to put ice in this yet. Over here, I've got it filled up to the 6 mark. Now I need to put my filter in. So you're going to grab your filter. Just make sure you get one of them. Make sure it hugs the sides. There. Now we're going to put our coffee in. So for iced coffee, I found that like a medium roast works tastes the best, but you can use any coffee you like. And this coffee maker takes just normal drip coffee maker ground at a medium grind. So we're going to use 1 tablespoon per cup we're going to brew. But even though I've only got 6 cups of water in there, I'm brewing 12 cups of iced coffee. So I still go by what I'm going to end up with. So I put 12 tablespoons of coffee in here, even though I've only got 6 cups of water. If I was doing hot coffee, I would do 12 tablespoons and 12 cups of water back here, and it would brew the hot coffee. But the hot is going to melt the ice, and we're going to end up with 12. So you just take your coffee, 1 tablespoon, and put it right there in the middle. Make sure this filter basket, make sure that word back is there, and this filter basket fits just like that. 2, and I'm going to put 12 more, or 10 more, so for a total of 12. Okay, so I've got all the coffee grounds in, 12 tablespoons in, the filter basket's in. I'm going to close this lid, my water's in. Now I got to add ice. Okay, so I've got my carafe filled up to the 6 mark right here with ice. It's a little hard to see, but it's filled up. Make sure you've got this blue thing in, okay? It fits perfectly right on the heating plate. So put it right there. Make sure the carafe has the lid on. It's a little snug, but not too bad. Then you're gonna come up here and all you're gonna do is make sure the selector is on iced. So it should say iced on the display. And then you're just gonna hit the brew now. That little red light starts flashing and it starts the brew. So it starts brewing right away. It sounds like a normal coffee maker. It's heating the water, and we'll take a peek at it here in just a second. Okay, so the water coming out of the bottom of that, 160, 165, so it's really hot. It's gonna melt that ice coming out of there. Let's take a sneak peek. This can be hot, so be careful. Yeah. There, it's brewing the coffee. Make sure that snaps down. Try to get the temperature up the top. 175. It's a little hard to get. So I see about 175, 177, 176. So I've got my tumbler ready for iced coffee. I got some ice in it already. Even though that's going to be pretty cold, I think, I still like to have a little bit of ice. And then I like to add a little bit of French vanilla syrup. And milk just adds so much more to iced coffee. But you can drink it black just the way it is. But I like to add just a little bit of milk. That's a little bit too much. And a couple squirts of French vanilla, and it's a really good iced coffee. It takes away all the milk and the sugar, the French vanilla syrup take away all the bitterness of coffee, and it just tastes really good. Okay, so it's melting that ice pretty good. It's getting towards the end. This has a freshness timer, so once the time goes away, it'll have a count up clock to let you know how long the coffee's been sitting there. It doesn't beep at you or anything to let you know that the coffee's done. And it takes about 6 minutes, so it takes a minute per cup. So this took about 6 minutes, and it's got that ice pretty melted. So the nice thing about this, so it turns the coffee maker off automatically. When you got iced selected, it turns the warming plate off as soon as it's done brewing. So as soon as this was done brewing, it turned everything off. If this was a hot coffee, it would keep the warming plate on for up to 2 hours, but you can adjust that too. I'll show you how to do that later. So that's a nice feature with iced. It turns the warming plate off automatically. So they're trying to do as much as they can to keep that area cool, because if it kept the warming plate on, it would just keep warming that up and up. What I'm curious though is how, that thing worked really well. It's a little hot, but not too bad. Yeah, it does, a little bit of heat does get through, so. Okay, so I just want to pour some out into a glass. Let's kind of mix it up a little bit. I just want to see what the temperature is. We could have added a little bit more ice. So in the end there, you're left with about 50, yeah, that's still pretty hot, 55, 56. You want an iced coffee to get around 30, under 40 degrees to be pretty good. Let's have a look-see. There's how the coffee grounds did. I like that it did not get above, the coffee grounds did not go above the filter. Okay, so let's make an iced coffee. Again, see, it didn't take long. The ice is all melted, actually. So leave you a little bit of room for some milk. Add a little bit of milk. I like to do 2 squirts of syrup. You want to stir that. Probably could add just a little bit more ice. So there. Yeah, we're getting under 40. We're at 42. You get that under 40, and that's, yeah, see. Add just a little bit more ice. We're at 40. Let's screw our lid on. Let's give it a taste. That's not bad. That's not too bad. Maybe just a little bit weak, but not too bad. I've been making my iced coffee with cold brew, and you start out with a cold coffee, so it ends up being a little bit stronger. So if you want a strong iced coffee, try cold brew, but this isn't bad. That's a pretty quick iced coffee to make. With cold brew, you have to wait 48 hours or 24, depending. Oh, and another thing, we didn't get a freshness timer when we did iced coffee, but when we do hot coffee, we get a freshness timer. So clean up. It's got these little handles you can grab here on the side. It's not going to drip on you. Take this over to the trash can. You can dump out your coffee. So cleanup is very simple. I rinse mine out, and about every 3rd brew, I'll put this in the dishwasher top rack. Be careful that you don't lose the spring and the plunger. There's a little washer there that you could lose. This, I'm probably not going to put in the dishwasher, but it looks like you could. But you'll have to clean this up a little bit. And the carafe, it can go in the top rack of the dishwasher. And it looks like the lid comes off. It might be a little tricky to get off because there's not like a little hinged area. So I'm not going to brew a hot coffee. You would just put whatever amount of water you put in the back. It's going to brew whatever amount. And you put 1 tablespoon for whatever you're going to brew. So if I brew 12 cups of water, I'm going to put 12 tablespoons in there. And then just make sure when you hit the brew now button that the ice is not lit. Otherwise it shuts off at the end. It does have a strong brew. And if there's nothing, that's a normal brew. The strong brew takes about 3 minutes, almost 4 minutes longer to brew when you do the full 12 pots. The normal brew takes 1 minute per cup you're going to brew. We saw the temperatures that it comes out at. You end up with about a 163 cup of coffee when it's all done when you do a hot coffee. So again, to set time, be careful. This touchscreen is very sensitive. So to set the time, you just go up and set the time. This is programmable. So say you want to wake up in the morning to a fresh pot of coffee, you can do over ice, strong, or normal brew. Make sure you got your coffee and your water in, and your carafe is empty. Come up here and hit the brew later. The clock is going to flash at you. Now this is the time. See how it says brew later? This is the time you want it to start. I want mine to start at 5:10 a.m. And then I can select strong. Oh, I can only do strong. I can't do over ice. Sorry. Now, once it stops flashing, the brew later light is lit. Go to bed. That's how you go to bed. Make sure that brew later light or that letters are on. It will start in the morning. You don't have to hit any other button. If I hit the brew later again, it turns it off, so I can cancel it. So the next day, see I come up here? Yep, that's the time I want it to start. Just let it stop flashing, and it'll set the brew later. There, brew later is set. It's going to start automatically in the morning. So when you go to bed, make sure you can see brew later. And I thought you could do, nope, you can't do over iced, only strong and normal. So it doesn't let you do an over iced. If this clean light comes on, that means it's time to descale your coffee maker. It senses how much calcium or hard water deposits are building up on the inside, and it tells you it's time to clean. It has a descale mode. I'm going to do a separate video on that. So this is actually a pretty neat idea. I'm surprised other coffee makers haven't thought of this. This is a very ingenious thing to think of, to keep that warming plate from heating that up more. They do have a pretty nice chart in here that kind of goes over it. The minimum water for hot and iced is 2 cups. So you cannot brew less than 2 cups. So this coffee maker, I can't get over how lightweight it is. Very lightweight. For 30 bucks, yeah, it's not bad. It did make a pretty, you know, it's still a little watered down just because it's so hot when it makes it. But they're definitely doing a better job with this. So thanks everybody for watching.